We staan hier aan de ingang van Rosengård, een veelbesproken wijk in Malmö.
Malmö is de meest multiculturele stad in Zweden. Meer dan 20% van haar inwoners zijn moslim.
De stad kampt met vergelijkbare problemen als Brussel. Sociale segregatie, jeugdwerkloosheid en religieuze radicalisatie. In Rosengård pieken die problemen. Daarom wordt de wijk ook wel eens het Molenbeek van Zweden genoemd.
Maar klopt dat wel?
Wij zijn hier om dat uit te zoeken.
When people think about Rosengård, they think about cars burning, dark places like a lot of concrete, thugs standing outside, people getting robbed and shot. But it's a nice neighborhood. It's a lot of green places, a lot of grass, a lot of parks, and it's close to downtown. And people think that the government has just let it be, but actually the government has been, in my opinion, too optimistic, and people have imported a lot of their cultures, and there's no counterweight with the Swedish culture. Being an immigrant in Sweden, I feel like most of the times I have to prove myself, but I've learned how to make it my advantage. I work as a social worker, and I work as a bridge between people who are outside of the society and the main society. I take my disadvantages being that I'm an immigrant, I have a different religion. I use that to connect with the young male, often the male guys, who hate the society or who feel that they're not a part of it, to help them come back into the main society.
I grew up in a Swedish socialistic family, and already as a child I felt I had conservative values. So when it came to picking a religion, for me, Islam was the natural choice, because I felt that it combined what I already believed in with the search for an absolute truth. I feel that here in Sweden we always speak in terms of relative truths in plural, whereas I believe in the absolute truth. I felt that Islam was the only religion, when I compare them, that hadn't given up on this vivid relationship with God, not only as an individual in your own private sphere, but also in the collective sphere, in society as a whole.
I think Europe needs to be considering and discussing more about the identity and the future identity of Europe. I think Europe needs to be more realistic and clear about the actual diversity that exists in Europe when it comes to thought and ideas and philosophies and even values. We have, for instance, for a long time seen the portrayal of Europe as a homogeneous, progressive movement, whereas there are large populations and portions of the European population that is very conservative and that have values that wouldn't seen as other than progressive. So I think there needs to be a more open discussion about these things, and I think a way forward will also be to actually recognize both the historical heritage that the Muslim culture have given and been a part of Europe for almost 1400 years, and similarly the modern contribution of Muslim peoples to the European continent. So when speaking about the radicalization of Muslim youth today in modern times, one have to have into consideration that most of these youth have grown up in secular homes, in secular societies, affected very much by the Western popular culture like Hollywood and MTV, which to a large extent glorifies violence, drugs, and even criminality. And you see this correlation and relationship between modern Western culture and radicalism today through, for instance, the recruitment videos of movements like ISIS, where it's very clear that the use of graphics that look very much like computer graphics and or Hollywood movie graphics, which speaks to these youth in a very clear way.
De morgen. Meer inzicht, meer zalm.